mental health for student athletes.
It does, and this morning I have a look at how they're coping with stress.
But the pressure can be overwhelming for some kids.
A bit hard to maintain both at the same time.
I would say I find it harder to keep up with my schoolwork.
It would be really hard to study.
The balance between sports and school can be pretty tough for students. Many student athletes struggle to keep up with their work and have time to themselves. I'm Rory-Struggles, and today I will be interviewing students, teachers, and parents on the topic of tension for students balancing athleticism. Being an athlete is never easy, especially a student athlete. Teachers are trying to uphold high expectations like quality work and meeting the deadlines, while student athletes are often leaving right after school for games and not ending their day until close to bedtime. At the same time, students face the pressures of competing with their teammates, meeting their athletic goals, stressing about games and playoffs, as well as many more anxiety-provoking factors. I asked student athletes today on what their take is on the pressures of balancing sports, grades, and life. Do you notice a struggle during sports seasons to keep up your grades, and is it easier to complete your work during the off-season?
During the season, I would normally have practice after school, and then I would go home and I would be too tired to do my schoolwork, and it would be really hard to study. So this affected my grades negatively. During the off season, it would be much easier to keep up with my grades, and I would get enough rest.
During tennis season, I would say I find it harder to keep up with my schoolwork, mostly because of early dismissal, because it causes me to miss a lot more class than normal. During the off season, I think it's definitely easier to complete my work because I have a lot less to worry about and a lot less on my plate, so I can focus more on school rather than sports.
It's definitely a bit of a struggle to keep up my grades during the sports season because after coming home from a long practice, I just don't really feel motivated to do any homework, and if it's the off season, my focus becomes on the schoolwork and not on sports, so it definitely is a bit hard to maintain both at the same time.
Studies show that on average, athletes in sports saw their GPAs decrease by as much as 0.5 to 1.0 points during the season compared to the off-season. This can be attributed to the intensive time commitments required for practices, travel, and games, leaving athletes with less time and energy for their studies. On top of the issue of maintaining grades, student athletes typically face a decline in their sleep schedule during the off-season. According to a study published in Sports Health, students get an average of 1.5 to 2 hours less sleep per night during the competitive season compared to the off-season. Practice time, travel, competition, balancing athletics and academics, and student life are factors that may adversely affect sleep in athletes. Does staying up to complete your homework after a practice or game affect your sleep schedule?
Staying up late does affect my sleep schedule because I normally like to go to bed really early, so when I'm doing my homework for a long time in the morning, I'm really tired and then I have to go back to school and do more work, so yeah.
Staying up after practice or a game to do homework I think does affect my sleep schedule because normally I won't get home until around 7, and then I have to shower and eat dinner and stuff like that, and then I'm already tired from having a full day of school and practice, and then basically the last thing I want to do is homework, and then I'll just be more tired the next day because I won't get to bed until late.
Yes, doing homework after a game or practice is definitely affecting my sleep schedule because it just gets really repetitive and draining after a while.
Sleep is crucial when it comes to exercising daily, which means it's pretty bad that these students aren't getting the proper amount of sleep needed, especially during a sports season. Not only do students notice a decline in their academic performance during the season, teachers do as well. Do you notice a decline in due dates and work quality for students during sports seasons?
I absolutely notice a decline in students meeting deadlines when they are in season. As a coach and a teacher, I notice that students forget to ask for their makeup work when they get dismissed for games. And they come back and think that they don't have to do the work. I think that they get the work done eventually because their grades affect their playing time, but as for turning it exactly on time, that's not happening.
Lastly, I interviewed a parent of a student athlete to hear their opinion on the subject. Do you notice an increase in your child's stress levels during their sports season?
Yeah, I would say for sure. It's it's a huge commitment for the kids when they are wanting to play sports and they have academics to pay attention to. So yeah, I would say for sure the stress level is more intense for student athletes.
I hope you enjoyed this video. It is important to understand the stresses student athletes face because it is definitely a relevant issue that occurs with almost every student athlete. I'm Rory-Struggles. Thank you for watching.